I know that the wash process is one of the things that people avoid the most on their natural hair journeys or they're scared of the most. But it doesn't have to be a struggle. I know that there's tons of information out there about what to do, what not to do, and it can be overwhelming going through all that information. But in this video, I'm going to give you everything that you need in order to wash your hair properly and safely. I am not an expert. I've just done a ton of research, so you don't have to. Before we get into that, I'm going to quickly talk about the importance of your natural hair and why you should embrace your natural hair if you don't already. Your natural hair is an important component of your confidence. And from my journey, I've realized that confidence is the key component in really achieving the life of your dreams, having the partner of your dreams, having the career of your dreams. And I will do my best to encourage Black women to embrace their natural hair to the day that I die. You hear me? Okay, so now let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about when to wash your hair. I know there's a lot of people talking about washing it every week, washing it bi-weekly, washing it once a month, washing it every 6 months, every 3 months. There's a lot of people who have their own opinions about when you should wash your hair. This is what I'll say. Washing your hair is important because your scalp needs to be clean. It eliminates your scalp from getting clogged and allows the hair follicles to grow properly. Also, if you keep your hair dirty, that might be a breeding ground for bad bacteria because we already have healthy bacteria on our scalp. If we have a lot of dirt and oil on our scalp, that can cause bad bacteria and cause flakes and itching and all kinds of things like that. So keeping your scalp clean is important. In addition to your scalp and your hair being healthy when you wash it, it also allows your hair to be moisturized. Moisture really comes from water. So whenever you go through the process of washing your hair is really getting the most moisture at that time. And keeping your hair moisturized is the most important thing as far as keeping your hair healthy. So that's another thing to know. So the more you wash your hair, the more you're giving your hair moisture. Secondly, how often you wash your hair depends on your hair and your scalp. So if you notice that your scalp is itchy or that it's starting to smell, if your scalp is starting to feel irritated, that is an indicator that it's time to wash your hair. If you are a person that likes to stretch out how often you wash your hair because of the kind of style you have in, or because washing your hair is more laborious, then there are things that you can do in between your washes to actually clean your scalp. From what I've learned from professionals, it's recommended to wash your hair at least once a month and making sure that you're giving your scalp maintenance in between then and also moisturizing in between then. For me personally, I tend to wash my hair whenever I feel like it needs it. Sometimes I wash it once a week, sometimes I wash it every 2 weeks. At most, I wait about 3 weeks before I wash it, but I don't usually go past 3 weeks because my scalp and my hair starts to feel weighed down. My products aren't going into my hair. You know when your hair is old and it's just not cooperating and operating the way that it normally does? When my hair starts doing that, then I know it's time for me to wash. And also, when my scalp starts getting irritated or when my scalp is a bit clogged, I also wash my hair, but sometimes if I want to stretch out my washes, I will maintain my scalp with my scalp refreshing spray. I'll talk about that another time. For now, we're just going to talk about washing. So when to wash your hair really depends on what you want to do, but keeping your hair moisturized is important in between your washes. Keeping your scalp clean is important in between your washes. So now that we got that out the way, now we're going to talk about the first step in your wash day process. Assessing your hair. You should be learning about your hair, like how does your hair normally react when it's wet? How does your hair react when it is getting detangled or brushed through? Like, what are the things that you already observed about your hair? Is your hair strands fine, like mine are, meaning that they are really, really skinny? I'll show you guys one. My hair strands itself are really skinny. You can probably barely even see it. Is your hair fine, or is your hair coarse, meaning that your hair strands are thicker, or is it medium? Is your hair dense, meaning do you have a lot of hair strands? Like me, I have a lot of hair strands. Or is it thin? Do you have less hair strands? What is your hair type? I don't necessarily pay too much attention to the hair typing system, meaning 4A, 4B, 4C, 3B, 3A, and all that stuff. However, I do use it as a guide to help me understand my hair a bit more. Also, your hair's porosity. And that will help you know like what products you should be using, etc. If you don't know the answers to all these questions, just keep observing your hair, keep looking at your hair, keep learning about your hair. All these details will affect how you are washing your hair, what is the easiest method for washing your hair, because there's various different ways that you can actually wash your hair. Next, we're going to get into the assessment of your hair that you should be doing every single time you wash your hair. So the first thing is, how tangled is your hair? Is your hair really, really tangled? And another assessment, do you have any damage? Did you just have a protective style in for months or a month or 3 weeks? Did you just have like 2 twists in just for a couple days? Did you have an afro in? Like, what is the state of your hair? And that will let you know like what you need on this wash day. Is it really dry? Is it really moisturized? When was the last time you had a deep condition? Assess your hair. Think about the things that you've been doing to your hair recently up until this wash day, and that will let you know what you need and how you should be maneuvering. So let's talk about my hair for a moment. I know that I have fine hair strands and my hair is dense. Imagine having a whole bunch of really thin threads next to each other and just letting them do what they do. They're gonna get tangled, and that is basically how my hair operates. So when I wash my hair, I tend to wash it in sections so that it can go by easier and to prevent my hair from getting tangled all over again. And my assessment for today is that I recently had my hair out, just doing whatever it wants. So my hair is really tangled. I have some damage at the crown section of my hair right here. So I know that I have to be more gentle to this section, and I need to get a trim. So I definitely have to be even more gentle so I don't like rip through my hair. That's also gonna mean that washing my hair is going to be a little more difficult than normal because I need a trim and my ends are going to get like tangled with each other. So that is my assessment of my hair for today. And now we're gonna get into step 2. Before you even touch your hair, inspect your nails. If you need to trim or file anything, or if you need to put on gloves, I know that some women, they have like all different kind of designs on their nails, and sometimes your hair can get caught in those designs, and you want to avoid ripping your hair. Your hair strands can get caught in the cracks in your nails. You would be surprised how much damage that can do. So just really quick, just go through your nails, clip and file them, maybe put gloves on if that's what you need to do, so that we can safely go through the washing process. All right, so my nails are all clipped and filed. Now we're going to talk about what we actually do before we get in the shower. Some people like to call it a pre-poo, but I wouldn't stress this step. This is not a mandatory step. So essentially, pre-pooing to some is allowing yourself to detangle with a detangling product, and to some a pre-poo is putting some kind of product in your hair to coat your hair shaft before you actually wash your hair, because sometimes in the washing process it can strip your hair of the oils. You can use things like aloe vera and olive oil, a fatty oil like coconut oil, but Coconut oil you have to really do your research on, because coconut oil can mess up some people's hair. So if you want to do this step, you can. Now, I recommend pre-pooing for detangling. And after assessing your hair, if you see that your hair doesn't react well to water if it's not detangled, then I will definitely do this step. If you have had your hair in a protective style for weeks or months, I would definitely do this step. So basically you would use some kind of detangling product, whether it be flaxseed gel or African Pride's detangler or any kind of detangling product, whatever you want to use, to just really detangle your hair and get through most of the shed hair and the knots before you actually go into the shower. Detangling, let's be real, sometimes it can take a long time, and I feel like I just don't like the feeling of being wet and trying to work through my hair, or that makes me want to go faster because I'm feeling uncomfortable because I'm wet. And sometimes it is going to take you a long time. That's just the reality of it, and you just have to be patient because you want your hair to grow long and you want your hair to be beautiful, and that comes with some sacrifices. And one of those sacrifices is spending more time on your hair. Me personally, like I said, I have fine and dense hair. So it is very easy for my hair to get tangled throughout the wash process. So I detangle thoroughly before I get in the shower because that's just what works better for me. If your hair type is a bit looser, you probably would get away without doing this step, but I feel like detangling first is beneficial for almost everyone. Detangling first is important in my book, would definitely make your wash process easier. If your hair is not that tangled, you can get away with just going straight to the shampoo and detangling as you're shampooing, and we're going to talk about that later, and also detangling at the end when you have your conditioner in. So this step is not mandatory. This step all depends on how detangled your hair is and if you want to do it. I am going to be detangling with flaxseed gel today. Flaxseed gel. I'm also going to be using my hands. You can use a detangling brush. You can use a wide tooth comb. Me personally, and from the research that I've done from professionals, a wide tooth comb is not necessarily recommended just because it kind of rakes through your hair aggressively. So a detangling brush is better. But I do know of some people who use wide tooth combs and they're happy with that. See what you like and use that. Some people also just use their fingers. How do you know whether to use your fingers or a brush? I like to use my fingers, especially at the top of my hair, because that is where my hair is the most sensitive and it has some damage. So I tend to be the most gentle in this area. So I only use my fingers here. And sometimes I just use my fingers to detangle my hair, just to give my hair like some extra TLC, especially if I feel like my hair has been through a lot. My hair needs to be trimmed, so I'm using this time to be really gentle with my hair. So that's why I am only using my fingers. And on top of that, I am traveling and I did not bring my detangling brush. And when you're detangling, your hair is really just wrapped around each other, communicating with each other, saying hi to each other. So you don't necessarily need to rake through that. All you need to do is really just separate it so they come apart. The best way to separate that is by just separating them gently with your hands. I think the best balance between safety and efficiency is detangling with your fingers for a bit. Once you get most of the shed hairs out, once you get most of the tangles out, then you can go in with a brush to do the final passes with the brush to make sure everything is all good. So when you are detangling your hair with the brush, you don't want to hear pops, like you don't want to hear those pops, because if you hear those pops when you're brushing your hair, that means you are breaking your hair. Whenever you're brushing, you start from the bottom and work your way up. Honestly, when you're brushing, you might hear a few pops, but the better you get at it, the less you will hear. Sometimes I can brush my hair without hearing any pops. Sometimes I hear just a few. So when you are detangling with your fingers, pulling your hair down helps the hair just release from away from each other. So that helps the shed hairs come out. It helps some of the curls separate from each other. So as I'm detangling, you're gonna see me doing a lot of pulling and separating. And I just add more as I need, just to make sure it's really slippery. I just keep adding as I go, just to make it really slippery so the hairs can slide past each other. So just pulling down and separating. And also I rake through the bottom of my hair. So a knot right here. So I'm just gonna pull down. But when you're running your fingers through your hair, you don't want to be forceful. The longer you do it, the more you know your hair and the faster you'll be able to get through it. But you just want to take your time and be patient, kind of just going at a speed that's efficient and careful. So this section is pretty much done. You see it's easier and easier for me to run my hands through. I especially like to finger detangle my edges as well, because my edges are so sensitive. All right, so this section is all done. If you look on YouTube for detangling tutorials, you're gonna see a lot of women who advocate for just finger detangling. I do believe that finger detangling has its place, but I don't believe that it is the only way to get long, beautiful, natural hair. If you have a balance between finger detangling and using your brush while also using your brush correctly, I do believe that you can achieve your natural hair goals. Finger detangling isn't the only way to get there. Also, if your hair is really tangled, from what I've learned from professionals, it is best to use a combination of finger detangling and a brush, because sometimes you're not going to always be able to get all the shed hairs out and get all the knots out with just your fingers. I think finger detangling has its place and is necessary in your wash process and in your detangling process, but I feel like brushes also has their place in the detangling process as well. So you don't just have to finger detangle, but finger detangling is very important. All right, guys, I am all done detangling. That took me about an hour. It is what it is, though. So now I'm gonna start washing. Now we're gonna talk about shampooing. Remember when I mentioned porosity, learning about your porosity? Pay attention to how your hair absorbs water, the rate at which your hair absorbs water. I bring that up because before you start shampooing your hair, you have to make sure your hair is fully saturated with water. Your hair is really wet. For some people, it might take you a little longer for your hair to get really wet. For some people, it might not take long at all. So just sit under the water for a while until your hair is fully saturated with water, and then you can start going in with your shampoo. It is recommended that you use a cleansing shampoo, a conditioning shampoo,
and a conditioner of your choice. Cleansing being the first shampoo because it helps get rid of all the dirt and buildup on your hair with the first lather, and then the second lather is just an extra clean, just to make sure your hair is squeaky clean, and it also bridges the gap between your shampoo and your conditioner with some of the conditioning properties that's already in the shampoo. I am traveling and I didn't bring a lot of my hair products with me, so I am using what I have access to. I normally like to use all natural products because some of these products nowadays have harmful chemicals in it that can actually cause cancer and harm your body. And also, they can harm the environment because it's going down the drain in the water. Even though I'm using what I have access to, I'm still following the same protocol of using a cleansing shampoo, conditioning shampoo, and conditioner, while also using as many all natural products as possible. My cleansing shampoo for today is black soap. My conditioning shampoo for today is this Audiio. My conditioner is this deep conditioning mask. Most of the professionals that I've learned from emphasize the importance of making sure your hair is squeaky clean, literally hearing that squeaky noise. And if your hair isn't that clean, then you should keep washing your hair until it is that clean. Or you might even have to use a clarifying shampoo, which is basically a cleansing shampoo but on steroids. If you notice or feel you have a lot of buildup and you really need a deep clean. Sometimes because of the products that you're using that have synthetic materials in them, or because you're not washing your hair properly, you can have a lot of buildup on your hair. The difficult thing about using products that you're not used to is the fact that you don't know how your hair will react to them. But that is where knowing your hair comes in handy, because you can pivot if necessary during your wash, like I had to do today. I've used black soap on my hair before. I lathered with the black soap twice just because the first lather didn't get my hair feeling clean enough. So I did another lather with the black soap and that made it feel a bit more clean. And then I did a third lather with the conditioning shampoo. I did 2 lathers of the black soap just because I didn't know how the conditioning shampoo was going to react with my hair. And with this third lather, I feel that it made my hair a little bit too clean. My hair started to clump together. Remember that my hair is fine and my strands are really skinny, so when it clumps together, that can be a very bad situation. So this is where knowing your hair comes in really handy. So because my hair was starting to clump together because of how clean it was, I had to quickly put my deep conditioner in right away. I usually wash at least the top first before I put my conditioner in. But this time my hair was so clean that I needed to put my conditioner in right away to give my hair some moisture because of how clean it was. I realized I didn't get all of the shampoo out around like the perimeters of my sections, but it was only a little bit and I'm not too worried about it. So just make sure you are rinsing everything out thoroughly. So the lesson here, whenever you are using new products, just give yourself the opportunity to pivot if anything is going wrong. That is why learning about your hair is essential. Now we're going to move into the techniques of washing your hair. I mentioned this already, but because of my hair type, I have fine, high density, and very coily hair. So my hair is easy to get tangled. So as you can see, I wash my hair in sections, and that just helps me keep my hair detangled as I am washing. If I would have washed my hair loose, my hair would have constantly been getting tangled and it would have reversed all the work that I've done when I was pre-shampooing and detangling outside of the shower. Some people don't need to wash their hair in sections. It all depends on what is easiest to you. It all depends on your hair type. That's why learning about your hair is important. I have seen some people shampoo their hair with jumbo twists in their hair, and that doesn't necessarily work for me because I feel it doesn't get my hair as squeaky clean. But if you want to try it out, you can definitely try it out. Just make sure that after you do it, your hair is really clean. If you shampoo with your twists in and your hair is not really clean, I would recommend taking the twists out, doing your whole shampoo process, and putting the twists back in. You can also condition with your twists in as well. You don't have to take it out. All you have to do is stay under the water for longer. I actually do that sometimes as well. When you are shampooing your hair, do not scrunch all of your hair in your hands. It is best to keep your hair elongated as you wash. That's why you often see me holding my hair and pulling my hair down, because remember I said pulling your hair down and elongating your hair keeps your hair from getting tangled up with each other, and it also helps you detangle your hair as you're shampooing. So elongating your hair and keeping your hair stretched is important. And if when you're getting towards your scalp, just go directly on top of your scalp and scrub your scalp with your finger pads and not your fingernails. Just hold the hair and scrub the scalp with the other hand, like you just saw me do. As I'm shampooing, I still kind of do the same detangling motions. So I do detangle as I am shampooing, and that just helps you get your hair even more detangled. You see that I scrub and I pull down, I scrub and I pull down, and I separate my hair as well. This is one of the reasons why not everyone needs to detangle prior to shampooing, because it is possible to detangle while you're shampooing and also detangle when you're conditioning. Now we're going to talk about conditioning. Deep conditioning is not mandatory, is really for hair that is damaged, and the deep conditioner fills in the gaps of damaged hair. I don't know the official terminology for explaining that, but from what I gathered, that is the best way that I can explain it. However, deep conditioning does improve the look and strength of your hair also. It is not mandatory to deep condition in order to have healthy hair if your hair is already healthy. It is not needed every single time you wash your hair. I probably deep condition maybe once a month. One of the things that can damage your hair is if you just use whatever just because you think it is helpful or just because you think you need it, like protein. Protein is actually needed less than you think, especially if you consume a good amount of protein in your diet. If you feel that you might benefit from or need a protein treatment, then you can go ahead and do it. I would even suggest going to a professional just to be safe. But knowing your porosity also will assist you in knowing what products to use and what products not to use. For example, if you have low porosity, you want to stay away from protein, especially if you don't need it. So just make sure that you're knowing your hair and you're getting products based on what you need and not just getting random products. Also, using food on your hair as a deep conditioner, but it doesn't have any real benefits as far as fixing damage or breakage. It just really improves the look and luster of your hair. It can add some strength because of the coating that it puts on the hair. When you use food on your hair, it doesn't really penetrate your hair shaft really deeply. So that is one thing to note about using like avocados or honey or different food products on your hair. Finally, you do not need to leave your deep conditioner in for hours or overnight. That actually does more harm than good. It can actually cause breakage because your hair is not meant to be wet for really long periods of time. So max, just do like 30 or 40 minutes. Also, your hair porosity will let you know if you should be putting your deep conditioner in with some heat or with steam. That will help the deep conditioner absorb better into your hair depending on your porosity. So those are my tips about deep conditioning. If you've made it this far and you've been gaining so much knowledge, make sure you give this video a like, comment something new that you've learned, and show me some love. Go subscribe. You made it this far, you might as well. Now we're going to move into the next step.
Okay. Home stretch, guys, home stretch. So you're really supposed to use a shirt or a microfiber towel. They even have special towels for your hair. I just don't have that with me. Well, I do have a shirt that I could have used, but it's all right. I don't think it's that deep. One thing that I would recommend that I didn't do today just because I didn't have it, and I don't do it every single time I wash my hair, but I probably do it like every other time I wash my hair. It is a apple cider vinegar rinse. And basically what you do is after you finish deep conditioning or conditioning your hair and everything, you get like a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a cup of water or something like that. And basically what you do is you put the apple cider vinegar in the water, pour it all over your hair and scalp, let that sit for about 5 minutes or so, and then you rinse it out. It like fixes the pH balance of your scalp and your hair, and it closes your hair follicles. But after I do that, my hair feels so good, so healthy. My scalp just feels really clean. So that is a step that I love doing. Now we're going to hop right into leave-in conditioner. You want to do your leave-in conditioner right after you finish washing your hair, just because your hair soaks up more moisture when it's wet. I would even recommend styling your hair right after you finish washing your hair. But you know, sometimes you can't do that. I mean, I'm not doing that today. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist my hair up and just leave it alone for a bit, and I'm probably going to style it tomorrow or tonight. When your hair is wet, it is true that your hair is weaker, but it is more flexible and more pliable, and it bounces back easier, it moves easier, so it can handle just you manipulating your hair better. So whenever you're styling your hair, I think it's best to style it on wet hair, just because you can avoid more breakage that way. But don't just wash your hair and leave your hair out and loose like this, because you're basically going to undo all the work that you just did from detangling and all that stuff. So that would just be a disaster for you. So even if you're not going to style it right away, at least put it in some twist or something so that you can get to it another time. My leave-in conditioner, I always use some kind of herbal tea, and this is lemongrass. So I'm going to spray that all over my hair. This just gives my hair the added benefits of the herb. This is not mandatory, this is just what I do. So for you, this would just be you applying your leave-in conditioner. There's a couple different ways that you can apply your leave-in conditioner and moisturize your hair. It really depends on your porosity, so it's important that you find out your porosity, because you basically need your porosity for each step of your wash routine. And your porosity will help you know if you should use oils, or if you should use butters, or if you should use heavy creams, or if you should use light creams. So I am in the middle of high porosity and low porosity, but I'm more towards low porosity, and my hair loves butters. I made a simple leave-in conditioner, and honestly, it's about that time for it to go, but I'm just gonna try to use all of it, well, most of it. So I'm just gonna use this. can use whatever leave-in conditioner you want to use. You don't have to make your own. I just make my own because, like I said, I like to use all natural materials the best that I can, and making it is just easy for me instead of going to the store to try to find a natural leave-in or anything like that. My hair is all twisted up and put away for now. Stay tuned for the next clip. I'm gonna show you what hairstyle I did because I really don't know what I'm about to do, but stay tuned. I just wanted to mention also that I have donation-based consultations. So if you would like one-on-one consultation about your natural hair journey and how to navigate your natural hair journey with your self-esteem and your confidence, the link to that is in the bio. I also have an ebook for sale, which is also pay-as-you-wish donation-based. If you would like that ebook about how to achieve the life that you desire by building your confidence and embracing your uniqueness, DM me on Instagram. Your natural hair journey is essential to building your confidence and living the life that you desire, even though it might seem small. So stay tuned for the next clip and we will see what my hair looks like.